idea that immigrants come over here and they don't know anything and they're dragging us down, because we all come from immigrants, including you, Tomi Lahren.
She talks about low skills. What exactly are her skills?
Her second great-grandmother had been here for 10 years, yet spoke no English. Oh, gosh. 1930 census says Tomi's 3 times great-grandmother had been here for 41 years and still spoke German. She didn't speak English either. She doesn't even know her own history. She certainly doesn't know this country.
Sunny Hostin just fell off her own moral high ground, and it was loud. Tomi Lahren didn't just notice, she came with receipts. It was like open mic night for calling out contradictions. Sunny, known for her self-righteous takes, threw shade at someone's background while acting like the face of wokeness. It's like, are you the advocate or the antagonist? You can't be both. Just when she thought no one noticed, she got called out big time.
Tomi, what led to that bashing on The View?
Well, there is a woman over the weekend who took it upon herself to research my family history in hopes of digging up some kind of a gotcha moment, a gotcha angle to validate illegal immigration and open borders. And what she found was really shocking, guys. She found that my family who came here in the 1800s from Norway and Germany, that they spoke Norwegian and German. Okay. And really what she did is prove that my family came here legally, but what she was hoping to do was try to call me a hypocrite for believing in merit-based immigration.
Tomi swooped in like a human lie detector with a grudge. She didn't just clap back, she torched the entire hypocrisy circus. It felt like courtroom cross-examination meets a reality TV meltdown. Sunny tried to moonwalk her way out with mental gymnastics that would confuse a yoga instructor, but it was too late. The moment had already gone viral, and she was trending for all the wrong reasons. You'd think someone who talks for a living would know not to spit in the wind, but nope. Sunny went all in, only to trip on her own contradictions like a soap opera villain slipping on spilled tea. And here's the kicker, Tomi didn't even raise her voice. She stayed icy calm, dismantling Sunny's argument piece by piece with surgical precision. No drama, just facts and echoes of embarrassment. Once again, Sunny Hostin tried to play the role of America's conscience, but this time the mask slipped. And what was underneath? Let's just say, it wasn't pretty. When Sunny took a shot at Tomi Lahren's ancestry like it was some joke at a bougie brunch, it backfired hard. She thought she was being clever, tossing shade like confetti. But Tomi didn't just swing back. She landed a hit so sharp it probably made Sunny spill her oat milk latte across the studio. This wasn't a messy Twitter fight or some daytime TV jab. This was a clean, cold takedown of double standards, served with a smile and zero noise. Precision over volume. Impact over drama.
Again, she failed miserably. But this really isn't what she calls resistance genealogy. It's just another indication of Trump derangement syndrome. I really am happy, though, that she has such a fascination with my family history, and I'm hoping that she will take on Elizabeth Warren's next. Well, it's not just me. It's anybody who advocates for merit-based immigration or has an issue with open borders. And again, just like you said, they don't seem to understand that we, on the right, believe in immigration. We understand that we are a nation of immigrants, and I am proud of my heritage.
Sunny soaked up the applause like a moral authority, but Tomi rolled in calm and sharp, receipts in hand, and burned right through the fake virtue. The real twist? Sunny tried to play the progressive card while mocking someone's heritage, as if that gave her a pass. But Tomi wasn't having it. She clapped back with cool precision, saying what everyone was thinking. Wearing a woke badge doesn't excuse hypocrisy. This wasn't a feud, it was a one-sided takedown. Tomi didn't shout, didn't flinch, she just calmly dragged Sunny through her contradictions like a pro. Sunny didn't challenge Tomi. She got exposed, dissected, and dismissed with one cold smile and a nice try, sweetheart. That eye roll comeback? It crumbled under the weight of her own logic. One moment she was preaching from a pedestal. The next, she was free-falling, and Tomi simply held up the mirror.
Tomi, don't you believe in love?
Of course I do, but I want to get to your question, because this whole Trump is anti-woman thing, I just don't buy it, because if so anti-woman, why did he select a female to run his campaign? If Kellyanne Conway had been a Democrat, U.S. table would have been applauding her, singing her praises. So if he doesn't like women, he's anti-woman, I don't think he would have selected a woman to
That's like
run
saying
his campaign.
And being an anti-Semite. It has nothing to do with
He trusts women.
No, I think there's something to say here. You're putting money where your mouth is. I'm putting your money where your mouth is.
Sunny didn't go after Tomi's politics. She didn't challenge her policies. Nope, she went straight for her roots, her ancestry, and did it with that casual smugness that says, I thought I could get away with this. But let's pause right there. Imagine if those same comments had been aimed at someone the media actually protects, someone higher on that invisible diversity leaderboard. You already know what would have happened. Crisis mode on CNN, panels on standby, hashtags everywhere, and The View rolling out a full-blown apology tour. There'd be tears, notes app statements, and HR workshops passed around like party favors. Someone might even land a memoir deal called Finding Myself Through Someone Else's Pain. But because it's Tomi, no one sees a problem. Her background doesn't come with a protected label. No Hollywood-approved origin story, no victimhood points, no blue ribbon of oppression. So what happens? Open season. And wow, do the virtue signalers love that game. They get real bold when they think the person they're mocking isn't allowed to clap back. There's a smug kind of joy in dressing up cruelty as commentary, pretending it's progressive, just because the target isn't in the club.
Women's obsession with race gets thrown back in her face. Today's video comes to us from Sunny Hostin. Sounds like a town. We're in Sunny Hostin. She was on PBS's Finding Your Roots, a show dedicated to researching celebrity ancestry. For context, Sunny is a staunch supporter of reparations and has made a fortune spewing nonsense about white privilege and racial justice. Well, turns out she's not as oppressed as she claims she is. She's actually the descendant of slave owners from Europe. Here's how she took the news. Roll.
Let's call it what it is. Not activism, but selective outrage. Fake morality with a filter. And the worst part? They actually think they're the heroes. When the joke targets someone's heritage and you laugh because you think no one will defend them, that's not wit, it's cowardice. But Tomi didn't fold. No yelling, no drama, just quiet facts and a mirror. The most powerful clapbacks aren't loud. They're calm, clear, and undeniable. Tomi didn't need to rant. She let Sunny's contradictions do the work. If your whole brand is respect every background, maybe don't mock someone's heritage just because they vote differently. But Sunny was so deep in her self-righteous glow-up, she didn't see the hypocrisy dripping off every word.
Wow. I'm a little bit in shock. I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican, half Puerto Rican. I didn't think I was, family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
Yeah. So how are you feeling, my friend?
I think it's actually pretty interesting that my husband and I have shared roots.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that. And I think it's great for our children to know this information. I guess it's a fact of life that this is how some people made their living, on the backs of others.
Fact of life. Interesting change of tune.
She didn't just cross the line, she stomped on it, then acted surprised when called out. Sunny turned identity politics into a weapon, aiming it at Tomi's heritage like it was fair game. But Tomi's background isn't privilege, it's working class, immigrant-rooted grit. The kind of story people claim to respect, until it doesn't fit their politics. No silver spoon, just real hustle. When Sunny mocked it, she forgot. That's not a weakness, it's armor. Tomi didn't rant. She didn't cry for apologies. She calmly exposed the double standard. Celebrate a background if it leans left, dismiss it if it leans right. And with every quiet, factual clapback, she made the contradictions loud and clear.
Did you provide them with DNA, 23andMe? Because I cannot believe the detail on your background that they were able to get.
Well, I don't have to. She did all the research for me, so I'm sure my family is very appreciative.
What about Joy saying, though, what are your skills? It's beyond research. It's personal. It is mean.
Well, of course, this is classical Joy Behar, but I'd like to ask Joy Behar what her skills are, because perhaps we could swap stories. I know I watch Joy, and she seems like a highly skilled lady, but for her to attack me, that's really interesting. Those in glass houses should not throw stones.
Let's not forget, Sunny once crowned herself the queen of cultural respect, preaching diversity like gospel. But turns out that sermon came with fine print. Offer not valid if you're blonde, conservative, or can speak without cue cards. That's what made Tomi's clapback so satisfying. No drama, no shouting, just a clear mirror and a smirk. When you lead the inclusivity parade, you can't trip over your own float when receipts show up. And Tomi didn't just bring them, she organized and delivered them like courtroom evidence. Sunny expected silence. What she got was a calm takedown that hit harder than any rant. While Sunny stumbled over her own logic, Tomi reminded everyone, respect doesn't come with a political filter. You either honor everyone's roots, or you admit your inclusivity is just branding. Mocking someone's ancestry because they vote differently isn't activism. It's petty, lazy, and deeply revealing.
We keep on talking about criminals and immigrants being criminals, and I just want people to understand what the facts are and the stats are, is that undocumented immigrants are much less likely to have committed crimes than American citizens. American citizens commit more crimes than anyone who is undocumented. I also want to make the point that an undocumented immigrant is not a criminal because he or she is undocumented. That is a civil offense. So to call people illegals is, in and of itself, I think, xenophobic and racist. I do.
Tomi didn't just deflect a jab, she pulled back the curtain on a whole mindset. The kind where empathy is conditional and outrage is a brand, sold in curated styles. If you wear the wrong jersey or use the wrong hashtags, your humanity's dismissed. This is surface-level wokeness. Catchy slogans on the outside, selective compassion underneath. Sunny and her kind pick causes that boost their image, skipping the ones that challenge their narrative. Pro-immigrant, until the immigrant votes red. Pro-woman, unless she calls out hypocrisy. It's not activism, it's marketing in a moral disguise. But Tomi wasn't fooled. She didn't yell or rant, she hit play on the contradictions Sunny hoped no one noticed. Calm, clear, and razor-sharp. This wasn't just a clapback, it was a quiet reckoning. Because when values shift with headlines, it's not progress, it's performance. And this time, the mask slipped. Tomi's response wasn't loud. It was lethal.
If Democrats really want to die on the hill of bringing back plane loads of criminal, illegal alien gang members...
But you haven't proven that they're criminals.
Please,
that's the problem.
Be my guest.
Honestly, look, I will be the first one to say, if there is a criminal, if there's a gang member in this country, someone who has committed any crime, big or small, get him out, sure. I'll absolutely concede that. We don't need criminals in this country. But if you're talking about somebody who you don't know because you haven't afforded them due process, then you can't just make that claim.
But the fact remains, President Trump is not only securing our border, but he is deporting criminal, illegal aliens. And if Democrats want to stand in the way of that, and they want to tell their constituents, hey, vote for us in the midterms, vote for us in 2028, we'll make sure that the criminal aliens come back. Far be it for me to stand in your...
If your values fall apart the second someone disagrees with you, they were never values, just trendy captions with filters. While Tomi delivered her calm takedown like a surgeon with receipts, people watched not because of politics, but because hypocrisy is always cringe. Sunny walked right into the trap she built, brick by brick, then acted surprised when it became a spectacle. She made the rules on who counts, who deserves empathy, and what's off-limits, only to break them live on air. No edits, no spin, the facts were enough, and that's what stung. Karma showed up with a front-row seat and a timestamp. And right on cue, her defenders appeared, the Twitter professors, the Instagram activists, all saying context matters, and we should focus on bigger issues. But where were they when the target was someone else? When the joke was aimed the other way? Crickets. Turns out, context only matters when it protects their own. Tomi didn't just point it out, she exposed it in 4K.
I would just like to state, I don't know if they understand this or not, but if you don't want your family to be broken up when you cross the border illegally, here's an idea. Don't cross the border illegally. Then your family will surely stay together. I don't know why the left can't think of this, but they would rather try to tell us that we hate families, want to break up families, we're horrible, we're despicable. No, we want to enforce federal immigration law, which is why it exists in the first place. But again, the left cannot seem to understand this concept.
When a conservative slips up, it's chaos. Pitchforks, outrage, cancellation. But when the media's favorite throws lazy shade at someone's family background, suddenly there's room for context and grace. Funny how that works. But the real moment? Tomi's response. No hashtags, no drama, just calm, focused truth. She walked through Sunny's contradictions, held them to the light, and let the facts speak. No spin, no shout, just sharp, quiet precision. Because this wasn't just about one comment. It was about the bigger picture, how elitism uses selective outrage to control who's allowed to feel proud. When Sunny mocked Tomi's heritage, it wasn't just a jab, it was a message. Your roots only matter if we approve. But Tomi never needed permission. She took her story, built on grit and resilience, and wore it like armor, walking straight through the fire without flinching.
As we've seen, Israel clearly doesn't play around. Every nation has the right to enforce their border. Every nation has a right to protect its citizens. I've said it before. You don't lock your door because you hate the people outside. You lock it because you believe in protecting the people inside. That is why we have a border. But the left would rather us have open borders. Again, that's a threat to our safety.
Here's where the irony goes nuclear. Tomi's story is exactly the kind the media claims to love: working-class roots, grit, sacrifice, family values. The kind of background they'd turn into a Netflix doc, but only if she voted their way. The moment she said Second Amendment or small government, the respect vanished. Suddenly, her story wasn't inspiring, it was inconvenient. That's the truth no one wants to unpack, because it would mean admitting that their activism is conditional. They care about your journey, but only if you arrive waving their flag. Tomi showed up waving her own, and didn't flinch. Their compassion? It's a VIP lounge, exclusive, filtered, and controlled. But Tomi didn't just walk past the velvet rope, she torched the whole setup. She calmly held people to the very standards they scream about, and the silence that followed? That said everything. No yelling. No meltdown. Just ice-cold logic and receipts that exposed the show for what it was. Watching Sunny squirm in real time wasn't drama, it was a mirror. Tomi didn't just defend herself, she made a public statement. Her message was clear: if your values only work when your side is clapping, they're not values, they're props. You can't champion diversity and laugh at someone's roots just because they're not part of your political club. Inclusion means everyone gets a seat, even if they come from the heartland, pray before dinner, and have dirt on their jeans. Tomi didn't drag just Sunny, she exposed a whole fake movement. The kind that hides control behind hashtags and calls it progress. No tantrums. No edits. Just pure, unfiltered truth, and Sunny still sipping coffee, pretending nothing happened. But we all saw it. Hypocrisy. In HD.